Hi there and welcome to this, your daily briefing. Mixed messages from Italy, a possible sit-down meeting between Nuno and Harry Kane, and some very interesting stuff from Chris Waddle, and some less interesting stuff from Chris Waddle, and I'll let you decide. For those of you new to this whole deal, outside the window in front of me and that door behind me, there is a very large, well, comparatively large 400-acre farm. It's not ours, but there have been some industrial noises. So if you hear anything sort of off, that's what that is. So, straight to it, Takehiro Tomiyasu is that Japanese fella that was been doing the rounds a couple of weeks ago. English press are saying that there's like a £5 million gap between what Levy wants to pay and what the Serie A side is looking for him. I think I've told you before, alarm bells went off for me when I first heard the links to the player. Japanese, bing, not very expensive, bing, shirt sales, it's a commercial thing, bing, and I was really concerned that it was Levy just trying to do the old another sort of sunny job on the cheap. But looking at some of the scouting tools that I use, and they're the same ones that the grown-ups use, he looks really good. I mean, he doesn't look like wow, but for the money, it looks like a really good punt. And he's only 22. Better than a punt, I'd say, in fairness to the chap. Bologna Sports News, and they're perhaps a little closer to the story than the English press are. And they believe that Spurs are, it's not, it's a done deal, but they feel Spurs are closer to seeing white smoke, was the phrase they used, the old papal reference there from the Italian press, because the guy wants to come to the Premier League. Bless him, the poor misguided fool. Nuno Espiritu Santo, and this is back to the Mail again. Apparently, the poor man has been assured that Harry Kane is not for sale, and you probably picked up the inverted commas. I had that in, but yeah, he's been assured. But if an offer of £150 million came in, then the assurance would be worth its weight in polystyrene chips. So I can't take these things seriously. I mean, Sammy Mockbell, who's a writer of some form, actually believes he put as part of this thing that the Mail broke the news to you that Nuno was signing last week, which after 72 days of shouting, and I don't think anybody broke that, did they really? Sources have told ESPN that Nuno will be sitting down with Harry Kane after the Euros have finished. And that, to me, if true, I find a fascinating proposition, because what in the name of God are they going to have to talk about that is going to be of any substance? What is this guy, who I've said to you before, I don't have a problem with. I think he's a nice guy. Strikes me as quite a sort of warm character. What is he, who reads off of the ENIC cue cards, going to have to whisper into Harry's ear that he's going to make it all better? I just don't see he's got anything at all. Transfers. This will be brief. Fabrizio Romano on Twitch, which, as you can imagine, is a platform I'm all over. I mean, seriously, just noon till night. He says Jules Koundé will be available for 45 to 50 million, and this guy's a centre-back, and Tottenham have been in touch with his agents. Well, in an ideal world, or in another world, in another lifetime, that might be a hopeful point towards Eric Dyer, Toby Alderweireld, and even Davinson Sanchez being jogged along. But there's nothing in the English press. There's nothing to suggest that we're trying to offload anybody. So I'd really like to see, and this is a big clue for anybody with any links to any foreign journalists, feed me, football needs to feed us. You need to start making up stories that Eric Dyer could be going to Roma or whatever it might be. because there isn't enough. Say Kane funds some transfer expenditure, there isn't enough. Even if you got the maximum money the number you might have in your head, there isn't the money there to fund something to kind of replace him and to bring in guys costing this sort of poppy. It's just the gap is too big to broach. So this brings us on to, and because obviously the Harry Kane thing is so pivotal to everything we're talking about, Chris Waddle has done an interview with a bookmaker who hasn't paid me. I don't think if they could raise enough money to warrant me wanting to plug them anyway on this, but there's interesting conversation here about Nuno from the former Spurs man, and I think it's worth sharing with you. So let's get right into it. Nuno did a wonderful job at Wolves, but Spurs are obviously a different animal. The fans at Spurs love to see exciting football, the team playing on the front foot and pressing high up the pitch. Yeah, I think that's just about everybody, if we're being straight with each other. But Waddle warns us, if you look at the Wolves team he built, with a lot of Portuguese players, they play counter-attacking football with a lot of pace, which is nice on the eye, which Spurs fans will no doubt appreciate. However, Nuno played a lot of football under Jose Mourinho, and his style of play has come from Jose. And by and large, Spurs fans didn't tend to enjoy that. There needs to be a compromise within the fan base between the importance of keeping clean sheets and the importance of scoring goals. Ideally, in baby language, you want them to be sort of neck and neck, but reality isn't always like that. And I think some Tottenham fans, when they're spieling out this nonsense about the Tottenham DNA, God help us, and all the rest of it, need to focus on the fact that we've kind of been there with this illusory, magical football with Ozzy Ardiles. Those of you of a certain vintage will remember that the all-out attacking disaster that was, and to some lesser or greater extent Martin Jol, where we're getting air hockey scores every game, and it didn't really achieve anything. Yes, there were some magnificent crazy moments down the pub and at the games and all the rest of it, but we didn't bloody win anything. So Waddle ends it up on the Nuno thing here, says it'd be interesting to see the first few months of the season and see how he settles in and gets the Spurs team playing. I'm having conversations with people I know, and everybody thinks there'll be lit torches outside the stadium come Christmas, and it's all going to go horribly wrong. But we'll see. Maybe he can do a massive holistic job, and as I said previously, he can get Dele Alli firing, turn Lo Celso into a regular heartbeat of the team, and keep Tanguy Ndombele fit. There's a lot to do, isn't there? There is a really lot to do. But anyway, on Kane, Waddle, he does annoy me a bit. I'm really pleased that that in the 21st century we live in a part of the world where slavery has been abolished, and there are modern slavery laws in place to protect people who are vulnerable and could be manipulated by unscrupulous sort of people. So the idea that you have a high net worth individual such as Harry, but he can't go anywhere because he signed a contract, all I can tell you, and it's not opinion, it's based upon lived experience, the phrase of our lives these days, but Levy sold our best players consistently over the last 20 years. There is nothing to indicate this will go any other way, and people are clinging on to this thing that Harry's too much of a nice guy to do a Berbatov or to do a Modric or all that jazz. So he talks about it's going to cost a lot of money. Someone's really going to have to stump up a load of money. Makes the point that Harry's irreplaceable from within the squad that we have at the moment. That's an absolute guarantee. And if we try to get passed off with this business from Levy or whoever, that suddenly Sonny's going to step into that. That's just dirty. That's not telling the truth, and the goals just aren't there. Kane scores an awful lot of goals that other people wouldn't get, and that's something you can't just put in have a work around that. You need Harry Kane, or you need somebody who's right up there, that sort of class of player. He finishes Waddle by saying that he mentions Real Madrid, even though they've got Benzema, who's obviously no spring chicken, and Barcelona might look for a 9, but they haven't got any money, so I don't think that's a go either. I think that's pretty much it. If you like this, hit like. If you want to see more of it, then subscribe. The numbers are going up really nicely, and the comments are fantastic, and I think it's really working out down there underneath my bit. So, and oh yeah, that's right. The other thing, the community button when you come onto like the homepage of this thing, I'm getting into the rhythm of it now. I'm posting up daft things and little blogs and stuff like that for you as well. So hopefully that's of use. So thanks very much again. Be lucky and keep it Tottenham.